is there, can someone bring a mic, please?
Can you wait for the microphone, please?
Anybody with a mic?
In the center aisle there, yeah.
Is there anybody with a mic?
Or we can try and hear you and repeat your question.
Can you just try and shout if we didn't have any mics in the audience?
I love this topic. This is coming from...
Sorry.
Oh, there you go. I love this topic for two reasons. I'm one of the people who raised my hand about knowing about what a JIC stands for. So I used to work on the TV ratings when I was in the US, and then so I went back to China. So the whole thing, and arguably I think China is one of the markets that very much fit in this topic, because in the past 5 years or so we've been actually undergoing a lot of discussions about how do we actually measure GRPs, quote unquote, or IGRP or MGRPs, you make it up, and OTT GRPs. So right now, like my company, we look at 4 different screens, and then I agree with what Adam said, and that is coming from my questions. When you look at that, I think in the future, it's not just the screen, it's not TV, PC, mobile, and then going to OTT. OTT to us is, in China, we define it as 2 separate things against the traditional linear TV. I think that's kind of been done, like Julien was saying, you know, on the exposure side. But my question is really one, I think going forward, one of the other challenges is going to be, in the previous model that we look at GRPs, is really just touching on the professionally generated content, the PGC, and then on the advertising buy side, right? But then I think in this space for cross-media video consumption, is also touching on, especially with YouTube here in this panel, I think it's going to be the UGC stuff as well. I think that was what you were also leading into. So now with all the UGC stuff, obviously it's not going to be advertising supported sometimes. You cannot play 120 seconds pre-roll videos before a 2 minutes UGC content, right? So I think in China, what we're looking into, and I'm interested to see where you guys think, would be, in the future, the measurement is not just about the advertising exposure, it's going to be the content exposure across different screens. And then that is really hard and really tough. We're looking into the contextual space, and in fact, advertisers are pouring money into that space. Like in China, they do a lot of creative inserts, product placement, which is kind of the old way. But now with the digital video coming along, they're pouring money back to the product placement. And in China, it's half-half now. So half with the contextual, half with the advertising. So I'm just wondering how you think about that as well.
Yeah, so I'd say I can speak to our experiences. I'm somewhat familiar with China. I think it's more Youku, Baidu, and other right, but not YouTube right now, unfortunately. But the model, what I'd say to that is, you know, the average viewing session on mobile right now for YouTube is 40 minutes, right? And that 40 minutes is not cats on skateboard. Maybe it was in 2007, but it's not anymore. And so the concept of UGC as a concept even has evolved, and I know that's the case in China as well. It's no longer easy to draw a line. So if we talk about YouTube, if you talk about creators, Casey Neistat, for example, it just started a new program, episodic content, runs one every day. It's at least 10 minutes. And so there are a lot of examples of content that we would consider premium that never aired on TV, that's often 10 to 20 minutes, whether it's Vox, The Atlantic, BuzzFeed, others that are creating this premium content. So I think there is this question of where do you draw the line. And I think what we need to do with in JIC markets is work very closely with TV broadcasters who are also creating more and more short form online content and or distributing clips and running ads against those clips. But I think we need to come together as an industry and define what are those standards. I don't think it's UGC versus non-UGC. But we need to agree on what should be the basis for comparison, and at YouTube we're very willing to do that.
I'm afraid we're out of time, so my other questions will have to wait. Thank you very much, Tim.